up, guys, and welcome to Coffee Talk. So, I have my iced coffee in this totally Christmas glass with my blue reusable straw. So feel free to make yourself a cup of coffee and sit somewhere comfortable and let's just hang and talk it out. So, this is the first episode of Coffee Talk. I've been wanting to do this for so long, but just haven't had the time to. So here we are. We're just hanging. So I have a podcast, Honest Hour with Chloe, and I kind of wanted to move what I was talking about there here and just as a chill, drinking some coffee, just talking about what the heck is going on in our lives. I thought it would be fun because I wanted to change up how my podcast is, so that's what this is. So thanks for hanging. Hope you enjoy. Anyway, so before we get into anything that we talk about, I wanted to just give a happy something. So something that I'm happy about currently, or something that has made me happy, that's still on my mind, just something like that. I would recommend you do the same. Just think about something recent or that's still on your mind that has made you happy as your happy something for this week. So my happy something happens to be skating related. So I have started coaching basics, and that is something that every day, even if I'm not coaching, I think about it and I remind myself about it, and it just makes me so happy. And even when I am coaching, those days are even happier because I get to see the kids and I get to actually teach them and be on the ice with them. So that's my happy something. Alright, moving on. So if I look down, I have just some notes so I don't get way off the rails. So something that I want to talk about was brought up not that long ago at my grandparents' house, and just some of my family were kind of talking about it, and I was like, this could be fun or interesting just to put out there and have a one-sided conversation with a bunch of people. So, and that is the idea that holding on is bad, and it's so bad. So what I mean by that is holding stuff in or holding on to something that's super negative and super not it, just holding on to that and how bad that really is. So I guess giving an example would be you get into a really big fight with somebody, or you're in this huge argument with somebody and they think they're right and you think you're right, but you've talked it out, you've hashed it out, and you've come to a resolution, but you're still holding on to that anger and that gross, awful feeling. That's bad. That's what I'm talking about. So I guess just going off of that, holding that awful, that badness, it honestly could result in just so many different awful things like anxiety or anxiety related symptoms, and with that, this is just what I think personally, because I feel I do it to myself all the time. You get so caught up in that awful feeling, and then you have anxiety or anxiety related symptoms, and you're like, oh my god, this is so awful, and now I feel sick, and then you're gonna make yourself sick and make yourself feel ill. I literally do that all the time because I'm trying to work on it, but sometimes I still just hold everything in, and it's just not it. When I was having this conversation with some of my family at my grandparents' house, they were giving some things because they were talking about this, and I just happened to jump into the conversation and give my input. And some of the solutions that they had given were you could swear, just all of a sudden just be F this, or just the F word, just yell a swear word because it just feels empowering. So that was one of their tips. Another one was just yell into the air. So I wouldn't recommend doing this maybe in a city area because people might think you're crazy. But like if you live in like a really quiet area, just going outside and just yelling into the air and just getting it all out so that it's not just like sitting inside of you. I thought that one was fun. I live like more in the woods, and my grandparents have a camp like a mile and a half into the woods, so I could just imagine like just somebody like being way back in there and just yelling for just getting it out. It just kind of made me laugh a little bit. And another one, or at least one that I thought of and I had put into it, is self-care. I feel like too many people think that your life has to be like so amazing so I can do all of these good things for myself and like to myself to make me feel even better. I totally disagree with that. I think that no matter what stage of your life you're in or what you're like feeling at the moment, self-care is so important. And that could mean a lot of things. It doesn't mean like you have to go get your hair dyed or you have to like go get your nails done. Well, those are self-cares. Like I literally just got my hair done because I was feeling like I deserved to get my hair done. I wanted to do it for so long, but I didn't because I felt bad spending money on myself on just my hair. But I went and I did it, and I felt so amazing that whole day. And I still do. Every time I look in the mirror, I'm like, yeah, I did that. So it could be like large scale like that, or it could just be you ate some vegetables with your lunch or your dinner, or you wanted some fruit, so you ate some fruit, or you maybe did a face mask, or you read in a book instead of being on your phone. It could literally go from so small scale to the big, like, oh, I just got my hair done, I like chopped it all off and I cut it and I colored it a different color. Like it doesn't have to be like huge scale, even though those are like bigger amounts, if you will. You can still do like the smaller, like, oh, I painted my nails, or you know, I put a little makeup on today. Like it literally could just be stuff like that. Or I sat for 5 minutes just with myself. Those are so important that once you do that, like if you still are holding on to like all this bad and this negativity, I feel like it releases it just a little bit. Maybe not all the way, but just a little bit. So that you can think about like and actually like have a clear mind on how to like totally release it. So that's just that. Kind of going back onto the like anxiety related symptoms. So I had this big problem where I would just hold everything in. If I was upset, I wasn't talking about it. If I was sad, I wasn't talking about it. Like my emotions didn't exist. I literally would just cry what seemed like out of the blue because I just wouldn't talk about anything. And I had to get treatment for having severe PTSD literally because of that. Well, not because of that. I had trauma, whatever. I'm good. But because of that, I never talked about any of that. I went from, if this is gonna trigger you, skip like 30 seconds. I went from being 140 pounds to 180 pounds, like, and stayed there and like kept growing because I just held on to everything, and I feel like the weight that I was gaining was just like a safety blanket, like it was gonna protect me from any harm, anything. And I gained a pretty decent amount. Like I look at pictures like then and now, I don't realize how much smaller I am until I see pictures like, wow, that was a year ago. So because I was holding all that in, I had my security blanket, I was just making things so much worse for myself. Self-care didn't exist to me. Like not a thing. So then I went to therapy, and because I had tried like serious exercising and like extreme dieting because I thought that's what needed to change. Definitely wasn't. I mean, I for sure didn't have the best eating habits. I mean, I was very active. I figure skate for crying out loud. Like I'm pretty active. So I was trying all those and like wasn't working, wasn't doing this. And I came to the conclusion, I was like, this isn't it. What is it? And I finally opened up to a a couple of the friends that I made on campus, I want to say the end of my first year probably, and they were like, yo, like, you need to like get help for this, like, you really need help. And I was like, nah, whatever, and they kept saying it. I was like, fine, whatever. So I went in for like my initial like just talk to see like what exactly it is and like what needs to be happening, and I ended up doing a 13-week program. CPT is cognitive processing therapy, and that was the biggest self-care like I could have ever done ever, and it changed my life. I swear to God, it changed everything that whole semester. And then the semester after that I kept going back just for like to make sure like nothing else is coming up, like we're still good, whatever. But I swear to God, that semester, that 13 weeks, I'm like a completely different person. I don't know who that person was before. I'm dead serious. Because I had such a bad mindset, and my mental health was just awful, like extreme awful. And I went and I got this help, and finally like took all that bad and that awful that I was holding on to and aired it out a little bit, and then aired it out a little bit more, and then I could talk about other things and aired that out. The weight off of my shoulders, let me tell you, there was just nothing there. I felt so like light and airy, and I was like, I can do this. Maybe my life isn't all that bad. And now I've lost almost 40 pounds. And I'm gonna be honest, my eating habits probably not the best, and I'm not as active as I previously was. I don't skate as often for myself, and I literally like don't ever work out unless I do Zumba stuff, because I'm trying to, teach Zumba classes. But other than that, I don't really like exercise. And I'm now comfortably 145. Like, I go between 143 and 147, but usually I'm at like 145. That's like and that happened in a year. Like a year ago from now, I was 180 pounds, and now I'm 145. And all I did was work on what's in here and what I feel, That's literally all I did. I didn't change anything else. I mean, I'm now in like a healthy relationship that I have been in for just over a year, and that definitely helped a lot because I tell him literally everything. But it's because I'm not holding anything in here anymore. I don't need that security blanket because I'm secure enough in myself where I'm like, I can talk about this and it's gonna help me because I don't need to hold it in anymore. I can just get it out. And it could be I go outside and I scream into the air, and I yell the F word. Like, if that's what I needed that day, that's what I needed, and that's what I'm gonna do. Most days, not quite that extent, but if it's necessary, do it, It doesn't matter, like, if this person, their self-care is they're gonna do, like, this nice face mask, and they're gonna take a bubble bath, and they're gonna have, like, candles on. Like, if that's not you, don't stress it. Like, you do what works for you, because at the end of the day, you're like, you don't go home and like they're the ones with you, right? Like, you go home, you go to bed, and it's just you. Like, you're your own, I don't know how to put this. Like, at the end of the day, you have you, and that's really it. And that's such a sad like thing to think about, but you really have to like be okay with yourself and really like get to where you need to be in you, so that you can like take what that other person says and it's like, yeah, I don't really care, like, that's you, great, it's not me. It's not easy, I'll tell you. Not easy. I'm still like, oh, what are they gonna think about this, like, what are they gonna think about that? Like, every time I get my hair done, I'm like, oh my god, what are the girls at the rink gonna think about? It's like, who cares? Is it their hair? No. Okay. It's so hard to like think that. And I feel like that goes all back to like learning to love you for you. I've struggled like for the longest time being able to love me, like how the way I am and like for who I am, because I feel like I need to be like this person or I need to be like that person. I'm like, oh, I don't do that, maybe I should do that, or maybe I should act like that. No. You know what you need to be? You. And that's like so, that's like the hardest thing that I've had to like try and really implement in my brain and be like, you have to be you for you, you know? Like you can't be like this person, because then you're gonna feel like you're being fake, like you're not being yourself. Because I've tried to be like X person, I've tried to be like person Y, you know? And at the end of the day, you just have to like, I'm not like person X or person Y, I'm like person me. I can't be like them because it's not me, you know? And if you are trying to be like somebody else, how are you gonna figure out like who you are and like what you want to do with your life if you're trying to be like the other person, you know? That's been like one of my big things, because when I was in like middle school, high school, I wanted to be like person X or person Y, but not me. And now I'm like, oh, what do I want to do with my life, you know? Because I never tried to figure myself out or discover who I was and what I wanted to do, because I was trying to be like person X or person Y. So you just have to love you for you. It's very hard, I'm gonna be honest. It really has taken like a lot of time, and I'm still like almost there, but I'm like kind of not there. But it's definitely like really hard, but it's so important. And I feel like the learning to love you for you and self-care are like best friends. They're like tight. So once you get like one, the other one is just kind of like, oh, okay, like this is this, like I can do this. So yeah, I don't know, I just feel like a lot of people, especially like right now, like with COVID and everything, so many people are just like holding on to all of this hurt and this anger and this upsetness, honestly, at the world. And people are so angry with other people, and I feel like that holding in has been coming out in ways that it shouldn't be. Like people in the grocery store like being like mean and like angry at each other, and like the anti-maskers versus like people who are like pro-mask. Like I feel like both sides just have so much anger like pent up, and this is totally controversial, but like it's relevant, you know? So many people have like all this built up anger, and because they're like angry at the other person, they're wrong, whatever. I'm not saying one side is correct and one side is wrong, or both sides are correct or both sides are wrong, whatever. I'm not going to give my opinion, obviously, but I feel like just people, they don't know what to do with all that hurt and that anxiety and that anger and that upset feeling, that they're just like spewing it out at people that like also have that in them. So those other people are like giving it back, and it's just making like this awful situation. And like in a time like right now, like we all should be able to air out our feelings, or like air out that hurt and just get it off our chest so we can be there for each other, you know? And that's totally not what's happening, and it's so sad, you know? Sometimes I just want to like flick people in the forehead and be like, stop it. Like, I know you're hurt, but like stop it. But it's sad, you know? It sucks. And I feel like now more so ever, people are really like trying to fix their mental health, like with BetterHelp or like other like sites like that, where you can get like online like therapy and all that stuff, which I think is like so awesome. But I just feel like in general, most people like they're not there enough with themselves, so they need to like freak out and like spew their anger and like their hurt at other people, and it's so sad. So like, I know, and you can't be like, I know you're hurting, because that just makes things like so much worse. But it is like on that level, you know? I don't even know. It just makes me so sad. I like hate going out in public, because I'm like, I don't want it to happen to me, because I'm obviously not going to do it back, because I don't have that anger or that hurt or upset to give to other people, and I don't want to just like stand there because then they get more upset. Like, if you don't react to them, people get so much more upset because then they think you're like ignoring them on purpose to like get them to go away, and they're like, well, I'm not gonna go anywhere. It's like not it. I watch these videos all the time of like people that get in fights in like the grocery store or like in a parking lot, and I'm like, why? Like, what is the need? Go home and take a bubble bath. Like, I can't. I just can't. This coffee is so bum. I like go back and forth with coffee because I totally have a caffeine addiction. It's like so bad, but I just love coffee. I literally, so I don't even drink coffee like for the caffeine anymore per se. It's so for the taste of coffee. I just love the taste of coffee. Anyways, that's really all I have to yell about and just get out of there for today. I'm going to go finish the rest of my coffee and probably make some breakfast. So I hope you found this conversation interesting and I hope you come back for the next one. I enjoyed this. I like just having a talk while drinking my coffee. I think this is fun, and if this is something I like you enjoyed, I would totally be down to keep this up and just keep going. And I want to make it bigger and maybe have people on it sometimes. We just like hang out, drink coffee, have a talk. So I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.